Alright, this is like full of stars, and it made me think of constellations, and my brain kept repeating Casseiopeia. So we're gonna be, if I can find my eraser, there it is. So I had to look it up because I couldn't remember. Casseiopeia, a haughty queen under somebody, the mother of Andromeda. Of course, Casseiopeia, a constellation, and Andromeda, a galaxy. Alright, so sort of like the negative aspect of the Queen of Swords is what I'm getting. So a distort. I want black and white for this. Let me use the big Sharpie. I have to listen to it squeaky. Kind of like Two-Face. No. That's gonna look bad. Some kind of bitty boop thing going on here. Alright. I apologize for the squeaky. This is the kind of stuff that I would take like an entire, well, an entire class, lecture class to draw. And I feel compelled to hurry for these, so the drawings are always going to be, I guess, kind of crappy. Unless I do some of it off camera, unless people want to sit with me for an hour while I do this. Alright, I'll round that out a little bit. Okay. Oh, I like that better. So I'll shade this part of Cassiopeia's face and get it back to almost the same. That's right, she should have a crown on. But it should be missing the center jewel because she's not activated. apparently Casseiopeia is not human because these proportions are kind of weird. Oops, I forgot about the neck. This reminds me of how little interest I have in seeing the new Joker and Harley Quinn movie. Way more excited about Barbie. Mostly because of the costume design. What kind of beings do they say come from Andromeda? Like, are they reptilian or mantid or what? Because maybe that's what this is. I know, it's real squeaky and annoying. But if you're watching it and you could stand it, there's a reason. At least there's no air conditioner blowing. Because I don't have it anymore. And it's also April. Alright, I don't know why it's flat on top, but so put like a little bit of hair on the top. Alright. Andromeda. No, not Andromeda, Casseiopeia. Okay. She done. And she looked weird. Welcome to CATtheMinion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. This is a reading for Aquarius for April-ish, mid-April to mid-May, or any other time you're finding this. So we have this Casseiopeia sketch here. It's making me feel like with Pluto in Aquarius and this sort of dawning of the age of Aquarius situation that we're in, that we might be getting some signals either from Casseiopeia or from her daughter, the Andromeda Galaxy. And we also see that we have this duality here, right? The dark side and the light side, because apparently Casseiopeia was kind of a biatch, which has been coming out in the readings with a bunch of upside-down queens throughout the signs. So we'll see what we get here. And we're definitely going to get something else, because neither one of these has really has regular tarot stuff on it. So we've got this triptych door spread, reconciliation of opposites. And we have something like that going on here. Alright, so let's look at the sides. No, this one first. Alright, so we have Krypton. I may or may not worry that that was at an angle, but we'll see. Hidden weakness. Noble gases. Okay. And we have this little island here shaped like a mile. It's a man. Okay, it's about as good as that's gonna get. 36 breaking down to 9. Let's put that there. That was about the direction that was in. On the other side, we have selenium 34. Thyroid and growth. The difference between these is 2. And they're sort of like rotated, like going the other way. It's giving me very much yin-yang energy. So we have something that usually is by itself, and something that's sort of encroaching on the other area. Selenium relates to the moon, because the moon is Selene. Alright, let's see what the unification is, or the reconciliation. Blessing on a Homecoming 44. Well, this reading is gonna give me a deal here. 34, 36, 44. Is somebody's measurements? Guess somebody's pear-shaped. A blessing on a homecoming. If you think of Krypton, you think of Superman's allergies. This thyroid with growth makes me think of like cancer. The thyroid has to do with the endocrine system. So if you have like a thyroid problem or some other problem with your endocrine system, it's going to relate typically to the chakras. And it's not something you'd normally be able to see. Like if you're coming home from the hospital and they're like, okay, we patched you up, then if you've got one of these sort of hidden ailments where it's like, oh, you're fine. Like, are you on your period? Are you sure it's not just because you're fat? Are you making it up? Those are the kind of things. I'm thinking of Casseiopeia here. That's sort of like a villain origin story. But my point is, the blessing on a homecoming, like, oh, thank God I'm finally home, but the root issue hasn't been solved. Let's look at the bottoms of the decks. Number 29, Copper, breaking down to 11. Conductor, Horus and Venus energy, or the Hierophant, which is number 5 in the tarot. So we have metals. This is like my endocrine system is messed up because I'm not getting enough platinum group metals. I don't know if copper is considered part of the platinum group because it does corrode to green, which is what this Krypton color is, and the color here. It's definitely conductive. Or is it? It has to be. Yeah, because they make copper wires. It's not just copper plumbing. And the bottom of this, blessing on a new venture. So we have green here, and then we have number 20. So we have 30s, and then we have 20s, and then we have a 44. Which is 4 times 11, and we have 11 here. 20 breaks down to 2, which is the difference between these two side doors. She's looking like Diana out here, or Artemis, if you're nasty. The arrow is typically Sagittarian energy, but the way that it could be Aries energy if you kind of tied a string to the arrow. Like if it was like a laser beam instead of an arrow that you were shooting, that would be Aries energy. Aquarius, sort of elusive. Oh, okay, this is Orion and Orion's belt. And this is Casseiopeia. Krypton would be a planet. in theory. So Orion and Orion's belt. We had a... Oh. Is there a star? Okay. For argument's sake, let's say that the star in Orion where the thyroid would be is where planet Krypton is. Just for argument's sake. And the illness of someone, it's like the illness of someone born under this constellation or something. Copper is involved in the repair somehow. But this could be the repair is communication. We haven't heard from this part of the galaxy in... Oh, yeah, because Andromeda is a galaxy. We haven't heard from this part of the galaxy in a long time. Our communications are down. You know, like... It's not like boldly going where no man has gone before. It's like, well, we're trying to get a homing beacon to this place to establish communication. And even if you look at the Eye of Horus, this is a diagram of the brain with the pineal gland, which would be up from the thyroid, because I think the thyroid is kind of like in your neck-ish area. And the new venture would be like, this is the first time that people that are like alive right now are doing this. Even though as a collective, it's like the 4th or 5th time we've had to reestablish communication. Right? Because it's the time, like, we're trying to reestablish communication. So the 11, the sort of universal timing, we're trying to repair it. We have we have 2 pieces of it, and we're trying to put it back together. And it's the 4th time, right? 4 times 11. We've done this. We've got to do this again. 20 is sort of a judgment number. It's like a graduation. If we can complete this, we're going to level up. And this is what's sort of coming in with the Age of Aquarius, is this opening up of kind of like disclosure, but it's sort of like opening up communication and consciousness and expanding your understanding of the universe. There are like less galactic, like planetary applications for this template. There always is. It's always like, you know, sort of like one step for me, like a giant leap for everyone. Because I don't feel like trying to quote it exactly because I'm going to mess it up. You know, it's like, I'm doing my part. You know, it's like in my life, I am, you know, growing a tomato so that I can have a tomato soup. And on the same frequency, someone is growing like an entire valley of tomatoes to feed like an entire planet of people. So if you're trying to reestablish communication with home at some great distance and involving certain organ centers of the body, on a personal level, you're basically communing with yourself. You're trying to repair the frequency balance between this like the third eye and the fuck was it? The thyroid and the pituitary gland and the lymph nodes and all that crap. It's like all the way up and down the body. I'm trying to connect to myself. And there's a consciousness and an energetic level. Because we're not really talking about a physical thing. Although communication does happen in the physical plane, it happens more as a frequency, right? Like sound waves, as we would say. I mean, they're really bubbles, but I was going to say when I say bubble, it makes it sound spherical, but I think they're really toroidal forms, the sound waves. They just look round. So I think with this Casseiopeia drawing that I did, we're dealing with your dark side and your light side. You know, it's kind of like, well, we're finally going to make contact with the dark side of the moon, or the dark side of the galaxy, or, you know, Sirius C, which we can't see because it's behind stuff, but we figured out that it's there. You know, stuff that's hidden. That's not as easy to see or detect. Like I said, it says hidden weakness. You know, like we need to do a CT scan, a CAT scan, to look inside your body to find out what's going on. Well, it's sort of like I need to, you know, scan the cosmos to see if there's a rash of interplanetary bodies out there. And it's sort of vague in talking about reconciling the dark and the light so that you can continue on, but it's sort of like if you have a dis-ease, then there's some frequency that's attacking your body. You know, whether that frequency shows up as some little like phage, microphage, organism or whatever, or it's like a mutation or something, a blockage, a calcification of a gland or whatever. Those are things that would cause like a ripple out effect, and then the flesh around it would have the same kind of distorted waveform. Hopefully that makes sense to Aquarius, because if I keep talking, I'm just going to muddy it further. Alright, so I think Aquarius is well equipped to think about that, so take it easy, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. Stay connected with CATtheMinion energy work. Check out my complete suite of goods and services conveniently from my Linktree. linktr.ee/CATtheMinion. Color your way into some relaxation with my coloring books Energy Forms and Draco Forms on Amazon. Get groovy with fashion and home accessories from my Cafe Press or Redbubble shops. Decorate your environment with original art and divination tools from my Etsy shop.